Meltzer would say, as far as the announcing went, it was a unique experience. Ross and Stryker were out there with little but an English format sheet. There was no producer, no direction. They'd never worked together. They were never shown on camera. And once they even continued to talk over a Japanese video package because they had no clue it was airing until they saw it on their monitor and stopped. They didn't know the finishes, and they were told to sign off after the interview with the winner in the ring, so they signed off. But the show continued a few more minutes, ending when Tanahashi, after retaining his title over Okada, posed and the pyro went off. They looked a little disjointed. It was completely unfamiliar surroundings for both. While both had studied book knowledge of the competitors, it was still very much a new experience. But from the fourth match on, they really clicked. Boy, that he really lays it out of what sort of challenges you were trying to overcome, but said, hey, by the fourth match, it was like riding a bicycle, huh?
Yeah, that's good for us. That was a good advancement, I guess, how quickly it came together. Stryker was a good listener, and that sounds very egocentric, and goddamn, he's full of himself today. You got to have a leader. Somebody's got to lead the dance. That was my role. That's what I was hired to do. Stryker understood it, had no problem with it whatsoever. So, and I'd been around Matt quite a bit, and we got along fine. I always kidded him about being a nerd, and he was, maybe still is, but he came through. He came through because he got into a deep water situation because, where you're always used to having somebody in your ear to give you traffic directions, and we didn't have that, as Meltzer pointed out.
Well, we know that it's going to be a successful event. Kyle O'Reilly, Rocky Romero, Kenny Omega, Alex Shelley, the Young Bucks, they're all on this card. And you would write that, doing this show means you're going to miss your birthday. You're going to miss Vegas in the UFC, and you're going to miss the Oklahoma Bowl game. But you got to do something new. You got to push yourself. You got a new challenge.
Right.
This has got to be a big day for you to get back in the saddle calling wrestling, and not just, respectfully, an indie show. The Japanese version of WrestleMania. When it's all said and done, are you happy? Are you relieved?
Relieved is a good word. I was happy because I thought we did a decent job, as Meltzer pointed out. That the fourth match on, we kind of started cooking because we got a rhythm. Matt and I were listening to the same music, and I was leading the dance, and he was following greatly. So, but I was happy. I was happy with it. I was happy for the experience, and being in front of a crowd that size and seeing how they reacted. Wrestling fans are so wonderful, no matter their dialect or their dialogue or their English, whatever, or not lack thereof in this case. So I was happy with it. I thought it was good. It was a good experience for me, something different, something challenging, and I like all those things. So it was a wonderful experience.
Jim, I got to tell you, Dave was so complimentary. He wrote in the Observer, in the final two matches, Ross made Nakamura, Ibushi, Tanahashi, and Okada come across like superstars of far more significance than anyone in United States wrestling, including John Cena, come across today. Stryker pushed that Nakamura was his favorite wrestler in the world. Ross made Nakamura come across as a combination of the most charismatic wrestler and the toughest wrestler, and a real larger-than-life star. To his credit, Nakamura in the match also came across as the best wrestler in the world, perhaps by a significant margin. Man, some high praise here from Dave Meltzer, and it was just high fives all around. And there was even buzz after the show that perhaps Jeff had hit on a good idea. So what if he did this same thing with AAA? Have you be the English voice of a Triple Mania? Did you ever hear any discussion of that? I mean, would that have been another fun adventure for you? Why did
it would have? Yeah, it'd been a fun adventure, but I don't recall that being discussed. If it was short-lived and quick. So would I have been interested in it? Hell yeah. Prepared for it the same way. I'd have got somebody that's very familiar with the brand and the talents, and I'd have got educated. I'd have got prepped. But that would have been another fun experience. It just adds to the journey, and I think we talk about some of those things. You know, our new book, uh, business is picking up. Is pre-orders are available. We talked about that before.
jrbook50.com is where you can get it. Business is about to pick up. Pre-order right now. jrbook50.com. We've actually got a graphic on the YouTube right now with a quote from Kenny Omega. Jim Ross hasn't just been the narrator guiding us along our journey in pro wrestling. He's become the voice synonymous with wrestling. It's been the greatest honor to have experienced his work as a fan and to also have benefited by working alongside him in AEW. That's the former New Japan and AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. Pre-order the book right now, jrbook50.com. So listen, a year after your first Wrestle Kingdom experience, I guess it's November, they announced that you're the lead announcer for World Pro Wrestling, the New Japan show on Access. I guess the talk started in November, and by January, it's official. And as I understand it, you're not technically employed by New Japan, but by Access. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was. I got paid by Mark Cuban's company.
Gotcha.
Access TV, which made me more comfortable because, you know, I could communicate with Mark.
Yes.
And I did many times. I remember, what year was that, Connie?
So your first call would have been January of 2015, but
Yeah.
you actually started becoming the lead voice there in January of 2016.
Yeah. And then Jan got killed in 2017.
That's right.
And that's where my relationship with Mark Cuban really bonded, because he made a call to me. I think I've mentioned on social media that she was struggling and she was fighting, because, you know, she never regained consciousness after that accident. So he called the guys at Access, find out how's JR doing, what's going on. So he gets a hold of me and says, you know, I'll fly in the best neurologist in America to Oklahoma to help take care of your wife. And I never took him up on it because, quite frankly, and it sounds morbid, but I was told she wasn't going to make it. And she was going to be, if we did keep her alive, it was going to be on a,
respirator.
Yeah. And she wasn't ever going to talk.
Yeah.
It was just horrible. God bless her. I loved her so much, still do. So he called me and volunteered fly a doctor in on a private plane and to give me another opinion. But there just wasn't anything there. She got the worst hand dealt to her that you could get. But that just gives you an example of the kind of guy Mark Cuban is. He pays attention and he takes care of his people. My God, what did you see what he did the other day about the bonuses for the
$35 million for the Mavs staff? How crazy is that?
Does that rival what you're giving Silva for Christmas and things like that?
Silva got a unsigned birthday card and a can of Hormel chili from me.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. This is a gift that keeps on giving when you think about it. Shelf life on those cans is fantastic. And an unsigned birthday card, you can use that over and over and over.
You can. Yeah. You're very frugal. Very, very good.